Hello, everyone. Welcome to InnoStars Talks. And today I am joined by Milena Argirović, who is the country head for Serbia, Albania, North Macedonia, Kosovo, and Montenegro at Takeda, which is one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. Milena, welcome to InnoStars Talks.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be in InnoStars and in this interview as well.
Fantastic. So I have prepared 5 very short questions for you, and I would like to start to answer either yes or no. And then we're going to unwrap all the answers and talk a bit more about these things. So the first question is, can big pharma really be agile?
Yes, it can.
Okay.
However, it will require mindset change and strategic alignment between the departments in the big pharma.
So the answer was yes. Now, is Serbia ready for AI in everyday care?
It's getting ready, yes. We embraced the AI strategy for the period 25 to 30 with key priority areas, and we will have to follow up thoroughly those priority areas in order to be fully executed. But
So
yes.
I take it as a yes.
Yes, first step is taken, and then the execution is to follow.
Okay. So number 3, is it harder to implement innovation than to create it?
Again, yes. I'm privileged to work in a very creative team. It's very good to have young creative people around. However, when it comes to the implementation, we are facing a lot of systemic challenges, but it's always hard to be a pioneer. But we are happy we are paving the road for the future. That's why even challenges, we are enjoying it.
Okay. Can Takeda be a real partner to early stage innovators?
Yes, because this is aligned with our vision, which is collaboration. It's integral in our strategy. That's why we are here in InnoStars and in EAT Health.
We're going to talk about that as well. Will patient experience change more in the next 10 years than in the last 50?
Oh, yes, it's already happening because the technology is changing the world, including the patients' lives. And personalized treatment and personalized care is something that is going to change dramatically patients' lives. For the better, of course.
All right. So this was just a short introduction, but now what I would like us to do is to perhaps take a step back and look at Takeda. I mentioned that this is one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies around the world. Can you briefly introduce the company to our listeners and viewers and tell us what your role in the company is?
Yes, I'll try to. So, as you said, Takeda is one of the biggest pharma companies established in Japan 244 years ago. And our goal is to provide the better health outcomes for patients around the world. So this is the global Takeda aspiration. And myself, as a representative in this part of the world, as you mentioned, in non-EU part of Europe, is to align the global strategic priorities of Takeda with the local healthcare ecosystem and to drive access to innovation. If I want to make the long story short, my role is to bring Japan closer to Serbia when it comes to the healthcare and innovation.
That's very interesting. So how does Takeda's global mission translate into your local operation and partnerships in Serbia? And how does how did this lead to Takeda becoming a member of EIT Health? Because you also mentioned that.
Yeah, actually, one of the mottos that I loved very much, and I inherited it from InnoStars, from EIT Health, is that the partnership is the new leadership. And this is very true. I think that the partnering and membership in EIT Health is the natural step of Takeda globally and Takeda in Serbia as well. because healthcare has no limits. And even though healthcare system of every country is kind of independent, we should really try to find the best partners for the patient needs or the therapy area needs. And these partners are not necessarily in the country where we live. Therefore, I think these kind of partnerships that are international are very crucial for the future, because if we want to really be innovative, we need to find the right partners at right time, meaning very early in the process of the innovation. And I think that the partnership between Takeda and the AT Health is the excellent example of that, because we are actually bringing something new together, and we are trying to find together the most relevant partners in order to create the best solutions for the patients, not only in Serbia but Europe wide.
Mhm. I love the fact that you mentioned, the partnership is the new leadership, because, on our own, we won't be able to achieve a lot these days. I think it's really about crafting these partnerships and making sure that we actually work together to reach these goals that we had ahead of us. And when you think about improving patient health in Serbia, where do you see the biggest opportunities, and also perhaps the biggest gaps that still need to be addressed?
Well, if you allow me, I will start with the gaps,
Okay.
because we are living in Eastern Europe as the other InnoStars member countries, and access to innovation is not that quick as it is in the more developed part of Europe or in the world, so in the Western Europe. And this is the biggest gap that we are facing as citizens, as patients, as healthcare providers. That's why Takeda decided to partner with the key stakeholders. Again, partnership is the key word. To partner with the key stakeholders in the country in order to deliver better diagnosis and better treatment for the patients. And I can have several examples about that. But one of the first projects that is our signature project in Serbia was created in the times of COVID. It was a telemedicine, which we became recognized for in the local market. It started in the specific area of gastrointestinal diseases, and after that, it was scaled up to the hemato-oncology. And we are the second country in the world after US that incorporated telemedicine in the public healthcare software, which is a huge benefit for the patients that are now able to have the specialist checkups and calls also remotely when it's not necessary to be there physically. Another project that we were recognized, and we are going back to the AI that was the subject of the beginning of our discussion, is the memorandum of understanding that we signed with the government. So, with the most important stakeholders, and our common goal, according to this memorandum of understanding, is to improve the diagnosis of rare diseases in Serbia, the diagnosis odyssey, which may take sometimes even 15 years. We are trying to use innovative technologies, such including AI, to shorten this period and to provide to these people to be diagnosed timely and, of course, to start their treatment on time. And then there are many more projects that follow these first two innovative projects. I will mention one of them that is also related to what we discussed earlier, which is the personalized care, because we are trying also to use AI as a predictive tool in the project, which is called pharmacogenomics in IBD, in inflammatory bowel disease. And we aim to use AI as a predictive model to predict which patient will react the best to which therapy option. So this is how we really we understand the gap, we understand the reason why the gap occurred, but we also try to find partners and to create projects that will help to overcome this gap.
And
Yeah.
where do you see these opportunities? Because, like you said, you started with all the gaps, but are there any opportunities as well?
Absolutely, yes. If we are committed to the same goal and we try to find people around us that are really enthusiastic as we are, then we can really, sky is the limit. We can reach the sky because I think the beauty of digitalization and of innovation and of the solutions that we are providing to patients, that they are not written in stone. Because when we develop the pharmaceutical product, this is a molecule, and we develop the transformative care for the patients, but the product, once it's on the market, it's not changeable anymore. However, when you want to support this product with a digital solution, this digital solution can be reiterated over time. And you can improve it over and over again in order to achieve the premium care for the patients in need. This is why I think providing the good solution and digital companion to every medical product or medicine is critical for the future, and it's absolutely possible. So I think it's we are on the good way, not only us but other innovative companies as well, to overcome these gaps that are existing in our market.
You mentioned at some point, Central and Eastern Europe, and I would like to ask you, what are the specifics of driving innovation, for a company like Takeda, which has innovation in its core, in the region here, in Central and Eastern Europe, as opposed to other parts of the world? And maybe what are the exciting elements of it?
What is exciting me every day is that usually Central and Eastern Europe is considered as the less developed, as I already mentioned.
Yeah.
However, this is also something. Sometimes the fact that we have a significant delay versus the Western European country means that once we launch the product or the solution, we can speed it up to the market or to the end user, because we can learn on the experience of the previously launching countries. And this is the beauty of being in the delayed countries. However, also innovations doesn't recognize borders. And we have very creative people in Eastern Europe, including the countries of my responsibility. And it's so exciting to meet the people that are not in our immediate, let's say, collaboration, such as healthcare providers or similar, but people from the digital sector, young people, startups, and young individuals that are very creative and can understand and address the challenges in the healthcare very quickly and creatively. So I think Eastern Europe offers a lot of opportunities, a lot of excellent people, and one of the things that is behind the people is always education. I think that in the area where I live, we have an excellent education system, and recently we were really recognized. The University of Belgrade, for example, where I live, was recognized among 2% of the best universities in the world. So we have the good education, we have highly creative people, and this is the recipe to success.
I want to go back to one of the 5 questions that I asked at the beginning. And we were saying that we talked about pharma being agile, and some people perceive big pharmaceutical companies as very slow and, or traditional. How does Takeda stay ahead of that curve? And especially when it comes to new treatments and new technologies, how are digital health and AI helping you drive that change?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Takeda is committed to provide truly transformative treatments. This is very important. So, because we will never become the digital company, we are a pharma company. This is very important to stay to the core of our business and to continue to provide and to develop and to discover transformative treatments for the patients. However, Takeda also decided to become the leading digitally driven biotech company. And this is in the essence of everything we do. So we really try to implement innovative digital solutions, not only, as I mentioned before, once the product is in the market, and to provide the patient support during the course of the drug delivery, but also much earlier. And I will mention several examples. For example, we have AI incorporated very early in the drug discovery, in the drug development, and in the drug delivery. These are three totally different areas, and in each of them we are trying really to implement digital technologies to improve efficiencies and, as you said at the beginning, agility, because this is something that global pharma is not very well recognized for. Therefore, new technologies can help us also in the manufacturing process, for example. And for me, very interesting recently is to learn how clinical trials can also be improved with the use of AI. You can connect patients to recognize which trial is the best for them, so you can shorten the period of finding the right patients for the right trial, or afterwards the recruitment process or the follow-up process. Each of the steps, for example, in the clinical trials can be improved and shortened, because time is the money now. The faster we are in bringing the products to the market, the better it is for the patient. So I think this focusing on each area separately. So as I mentioned, drug discovery, drug development and delivery is crucial for the future success. And also, I think one moment that I mentioned at the very beginning with these quick questions is the alignment. It's very important for the global pharma, and Takeda is doing excellently on that. Recently, it's improving significantly in the aligning between different departments. As we need partners outside of Takeda, we also have to partner inside Takeda between different departments in order to have superior results and to provide value for the society, for the patients, and for the healthcare ecosystems.
Yeah, it's all about efficiency. It's all about alignment. It's all about making sure that the end result is there because we're working in alignment, as you said. Of course, digital health and AI can only thrive if the core, if we have the right infrastructure and frameworks in place. And we're talking about health data really being at the core of all of that. Last year, Takeda Serbia took part in the EIT Health Morning Health Talks event focused on the European health data space, and also contributed to a white paper. From your perspective, what are the biggest opportunities and perhaps the biggest barriers for Serbia when it comes to accessing and sharing health data across borders, really? And how do you see those challenges reflect the broader reality of implementing innovation in national healthcare systems?
Well, let me go one step back.
Sure.
How the idea was born about this collaboration between the European health data space and the Serbian healthcare ecosystem. So, as I said, Serbia is very committed to transform digitally the country, including the healthcare as one of the priorities. And we are introducing the law on electronic health record that will be effective January 26. So it was perfect timing to offer our healthcare electronic data policies and system as a pilot to the European health data space, which was about to be implemented a couple of years ago. However, there are a lot of challenges. As we discussed at the beginning, every innovation is facing a lot of systemic challenges. And one of the challenges that the European Union was facing is the fragmentation, because European Union has many countries that have different regulations and different healthcare systems, different structure of healthcare data. And it was really very challenging to incorporate everything into one healthcare database. However, Serbia is a smaller country, and the biggest advantage of our healthcare system is that it's unified, and it's one database. So we have one mandatory public health system, and the electronic health record that will be introduced in January will be consolidated in one database. That's why we will, of course, they will consolidate multiple hospital centers and multiple databases from the hospitals. That's why the idea about the collaboration was raised, how European health data space can pilot in Serbia, and how Serbia can learn from the experience of European health data space, having in mind that also Serbia is an EU candidate, and we are really trying
Yes.
to align our regulations with the European regulation, meaning, of course, the same in the healthcare. So the meeting itself was very successful. We had the privilege to listen to the European health data space uh, people who are participating in this initiative from across European Union, from countries like Italy, France, Poland, and also to hear Serbian perspective. And the document that was delivered afterwards, the white paper, was actually consolidated everything that was concluded and that was discussed.
It's interesting that you've mentioned the digital advancement in Serbia, because I've personally been at the agency responsible, at the government, on the government level, I think twice, if I remember correctly, and I've seen all those different bits and pieces in different areas of not necessarily only in health, but that now kind of spills over to healthcare, which is amazing. I think I remember I was there just a couple of days before the lockdown back in 2020, when I was looking at how the digital agency of Serbia is actually working. Let's look at innovation once again, and perhaps partnership as well. We know that innovation, and we mentioned that already, doesn't happen in isolation. It happens not only on systems, but also on the people and partners level, sort of driving it forward. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs or innovators who want to partner with a company like Takeda?
Well, this is a complex question, but if I can make it very short with the advices from the experience that I have so far, the most important thing is that to always put the patient in the center. So everything that we do, we should creativity is not the purpose by itself. The purpose is to deliver value to the patient and to improve the healthcare outcome, because this is what the patients need, and this is why we should create something innovative. So this is the
Mm-hmm.
first thing, first advice. So patient in the center. Second advice would be try to find the relevant partner very early in the process, because this is dedicating time to the relevant partners at the beginning is very important. Not any partner,
Mm-hmm.
because if you have the idea, for example, you're a digital creator and you have the digital idea, but you don't have the good healthcare advisors, healthcare experts who will advise you um, how to develop this idea, then probably you will waste time. So it's important
Mm-hmm.
to find proper partners. So better dedicate time at the beginning to find the proper partners. And then also the third piece of advice that I would give is always try to work around a solution that will be scalable. Scalable
Mm-hmm.
meaning either from one therapy area to another or from one geography to another. Because the more
Mm-hmm.
scalable the solution is, the more the bigger probability of success will be.
Mm-hmm. What is
The
one
question.
major change? Sorry.
I hope that I addressed the question. It's a complex one.
Yeah.
If I have to make it short, then these three pieces of advice would be the most relevant.
Mhm. Mhm. What is one major change you believe will shape uh, the patient experience in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years, and how is Takeda preparing for it already?
We mentioned that, I think, at the beginning as well, the personalized care. I think this is the most important shift that is going to happen, because
Mhm.
in the past, the medicine products were delivered to serve majority of the population that is suffering from this disease. However, recently with the digital solutions that we are using in the healthcare, the medicine is becoming more personalized. So every patient should receive what he or she needs, not necessarily what other people need. So in order to achieve that, we will have to continue finding the digital solutions for every step in the patient journey. This is very important. And I think the fact that, and I mentioned already a few examples that Takeda was working locally and also globally. But I think the fact that patient will be able to be in real-time contact with the healthcare provider is critical, because healthcare provider will be able to receive the patient data and change in the healthcare parameters in the real time, and then to react in the real time in order to shift the course of the disease, or to change or to slow down the disease, whatever is possible in the specific patients. And also vice versa. So patient will deliver the data about the healthcare status to the physician, but also physicians and healthcare organizations will be able to collect those data and to create a real world evidence, to analyze them, and to make informed decisions about the future for the specific patient or the patient population. So it's very important that the data are the critical part in the future development of the medicine. And I think this real-time contact will be key to the personalized care that we are going to provide. And Takeda is committed to deliver that.
I have to say that it's all very, very exciting, especially with the changes, with the disruptions that we are facing in healthcare, but actually across the board. And this is going to change a lot of things in our lives. Milena, thank you so much for this conversation. I really enjoyed that, and best of luck for yourself and Takeda as well in Europe, in Serbia, and around the world. And see you around, just like last time in Warsaw.
Thank you very much, and thank you for this exciting opportunity. I really enjoyed the interview, and hope to see you soon as well around with our innovative partnerships.